For cheap D2R items, visit aoeah.com. You get 3% off with the code ARIAD. Check the link in the description. Hello and welcome everybody. Today we are going to take a look at an Amazon build that hides in the shadows a bit, but it became quite strong and well playable. So this is my Poison Javazon guide. As usual, I give recommendations for different budget classes. Let's start. For the stat points, the usual procedure: enough strength and dexterity for the equipment, remaining points into vitality. At the spear and javelin skills, we maximize the 2 poison skills, and because so many points are left, we can also upskill Impale and Fend here. The poison attacks are bad for boss kills, so we can carry a 2-handed spear in the change hand instead of the usual CTA and spirit. But you should also unlock the dodging skills in the passive tree with 1 point each, as well as the right column. There it's also useful to upgrade Penetrate for the attack value. Except for Impale, all attacks depend on the hit query. Optionally, you could also unlock the left column, so all in all the skill tree looks like this. Now the breakpoints. Cast rate is only important in case you play with teleport. The attack speed is quite uninteresting for the poison attacks, because you won't attack with such a high frequency anyway. The poison damage works over time. For the second weapon slot, IAS is more interesting. You should also have a little faster hit recovery, but for PvE, 20 or 33 are usually enough. Now the equipment. First we look at different options without teleport. We can play the Amazon in a green look according to the theme, so I got a 4-socketed armor with an emerald and 3 facets. It is important that the emerald comes in first. The armor helps us to break monsters' resistances. Another way to get the Amazon green: Leviathan. With only 1 facet we have less damage, but more damage reduction. The armor brings 25% resistance against physical damage. If you don't care about the green color and want to go for full damage, you can of course wear a bramble armor. But it should be noted that it only increases the poison damage, it doesn't lower the resistances of monsters. For the hat we could simply take a Harlequin crest, which is also green, gives +2 to skills, mana, life and reduced damage. I socketed a Numb rune for resistances. You could also wear a Vampire Gaze for the look. It has reduced damage and dual leech, which is mainly interesting for the second weapon slot though. Since the Amazon will go by foot in this variant, running speed is of course also handy, but such a helmet here is also quite expensive. What's important to know: the +2 skills from Shaco give more damage than the 15% from the tiara, but here we also have -15 to poison resistance. Especially with immune monsters, this makes a considerable difference. The amulet is a Mara's because of skills and resistances. Maybe you could possibly also wear a cat's eye here instead to get even more running speed, but the loss of 2 skills and the resistances is not worth it to me. The weapon is clearly Titan's, +4 to our attack skills, replenish stacks and 30% running speed. In the shield slot, the cheapest solution is a spirit, +2 skills, resistances, massive hit recovery and other nice features. Headhunter's Glory with 3 facets is of course also a nice option. Here the same applies as with the helmet. On paper, the +2 skills from the spirit give more damage, but the facets also break resistances. The shoes are Sandstorm tracks, mainly because of the poison resistance. Of course we are playing with a Thunder Charm, so we want to get the resistance loss back in. The rings are a Raven Frost and a Bulkatos. For the belt slot there are several options that can make sense. String of Ears is nice and cheap and gives 15% damage reduce. Razor Tail has 33% pierce. And Nosferatu's Coil has IAS and slows enemies. An Arachnid Mesh for the +1 skills is of course also possible. We will use it later in the teleport setup too. The gloves are Trangules for the 25% poison skill damage. +2 skill gloves do less damage, but here especially 10% crushing blow from the blood recipe can be attractive. In the second weapon slot I got a Hones Sundan upgraded and socketed with 3 Shail runes. The weapon has 45% crushing blow, so we get down bosses faster. An ethereal version is a bit harder to get and you can also vary the socketing. A barrel increases the chance of crushing blow to 65%. The Zod rune I used because when attacking with Impale I broke a copy yet, even though the weapon has self-repair. In the inventory some skill charms and a few small charms for the resistances. And of course Ani Torch and the Thunder charm. As you can see, you get up to over 100,000 damage on Poison Javelin yet, but much more effective is the Plague Javelin. It has about 20,000 damage less, but the duration time is much shorter. The attack value is also higher here, almost at 10k, so you will hit fine. In the second weapon slot the damage doesn't look impressive, but on Impale it's quite okay, and the crushing blow will make up a significant part of our melee damage. Here are a few gameplay clips. Basically, this build can farm everywhere, but the last 2 waves in the throne room turn out to be especially tough. The Venom Lords have some high poison resistance, the others got a lot of health, so bail runs can drag on a bit, especially on players 8. At all other farm spots you usually have no problems, and when monsters have high poison resistances it is always helpful to get more items to break the resistances. You could also play an Act 5 mercenary using Plague to cast lower resistances, and in the change hand you could of course also go for BOTD. To make the Amazon teleportable, you need Enigma of course, and to get some more cast rate, I recommend an Arachnid Mesh, a ring with 10% FCR, and an amulet with 18% or more. Together with Trangul's gloves, we already reached 68% to break the breakpoint for 13 frames. Together with Spirit, you will get more than 100% FCR and thus even 12 frames. But in this setup, you don't have so many options to lower the monster resistances, the armor slot is not available, only head and shield are left, so it might make sense to use Headhunter's Glory instead of the Spirit Shield. Also you could make use of an Insight Merc to avoid mana problems while teleporting. The playstyle is quite comfortable. Similar to the Poison Necro, you have to wait a bit for the damage to take effect, but with the right movement you kill very fast. Like with the Lightning Javazon, it is practical to pull larger monster masses together and to make use of the poison's area damage. I say goodbye with it, take care and may the loot be with you.
Come on. Follow me.